we discussed about variables is generally variables so we discussed about variable declaration and a variable scope, global scope, local scope and global scope. So we have three keywords: var, let and const. What is difference? Var is the function scope and let and constant are block scope. Which one allows shadowing? Var allows shadowing. What is shadowing? Declaring same name identifier again within the scope. What is hoisting? Hoisting means there is no order in using and declaring. You can access and use after declaration, or you can declare after using any order. So what is the difference between let and const? Let and const both are block scope. Then what is difference? Const allows only initialization. It will not allow to assign. Only initialization is allowed. So if you want to initialize any value and use, then you have to use const. Next, important, we have a global scope. Yesterday we learned that global scope is defined by declaring a variable outside function. Which keyword we can use for global? All three keywords we can use: var, let or const. We can use for global. Here, one important question asked is, in interviews, they have one question like, can we define a global variable by declaring or initializing within function? Can we define a global variable by declaring or initializing within function? Because within function, if you declare anything, it is function scope. Within a function, if you declare anything, it is function scope. It is not accessible outside function. So the question is, can we declare any variable inside function and make it global so that we can access in another function? If you use any keyword var, let, const, they are not accessible outside function. Then obviously the answer for this question is, but it allows. For that, we have another technique. We can do that by declaring variable with a window object. We can declare variable with window object. That is possible. We can declare a variable with a window object. So declaring variable with window object, it is possible. Actually, JavaScript have window object, but here problem is window object, it is available only when JavaScript is used with HTML. It is available only when JavaScript is used with HTML, because when JavaScript is used with any other command lines and other, their window will not be there. Window is related to browser. Window is available only when we are using JavaScript with the HTML. In that case, we have the access. That means you see now, I am defining here. Sometimes what people do is they simply put X is equal to some 30. X is declared in which location? Function 1. And it is accessed in which location? Function 2. But you see now, here X is not declared with any variable or let or const. Is it valid? Is it valid? It is not valid. Why? Because it is in strict mode. In strict mode, declaration compulsory. Then, as of now, this is not valid. That means you see it's not valid. You can see it shows an error. In the console, it is going to display error. X is not defined. X is not defined at function 1 also. It is not defined at function 1. Because you need to declare a variable if you want to use a variable, especially when it is in strict mode. And if I declare var, it is accessible in function 1, but it is not accessible in function 2. It says that in function 2, X is not there. Then what you do is we have to declare with window, window.x. Now it makes a variable global. Even it is inside function, it is global. Then you can see it is working fine. We can access in function 1 and we can access in function 2. So is it possible to declare a global scope variable inside function? It's possible. But every time we don't do this, because this is not possible if you are not dealing with browser. That means your JavaScript is not using window, then this will not work. Not using window means we said that JavaScript is used server side. JavaScript is used in other areas. There we don't have window object. Window is only when we are dealing with HTML. When you are designing it HTML, your JavaScript is running in browser, then you can use window. If JavaScript is not running in browser, you cannot use. So then this window is not possible. Then you have to use other technique like declare outside and use access everywhere. So it is possible to configure a global scope variable inside function by using window object. So syntactically, we can use window dot variable name and value. This is an example for that. And while accessing, we don't need to use the word window. You can directly access the variable X, Y, Z like that. While declaring and initializing, we have to use the keyword window. Window is a keyword. You have to write it in lowercase only. It's a keyword you have to define in lowercase. So this is about global scope for variable, global variable. Next important, after understanding the global scope, you should also learn variable naming, you should know the variable naming rules, how to name a variable. So while giving name for variables, some important rules we have to follow. Generally, first point, a variable name cannot start with numeric number. Name can be alphanumeric with underscore as special character. So it can be alphanumeric with underscore as special character. It can start with alphabet or underscore. So this underscore is not recommended in production. That means only in development we use. Production means going live. After design, we are going live. At the time, these underscore name variables should not be there. But developer have an habit of giving underscore for variable names. Why they give underscore for variable is nothing but actually underscore specifies that it requires further implementation. That means underscore indicates that it is not finished. It requires further implementation. That is just a specification. Later you will see how to write. That means when you write variable name 2023 is equal to available, something like this. This is invalid because variable name cannot start with number. So if variable name start with 2023 like this is valid. So if variable name have y 2023, that is also valid. So variable name can have some y and 2023. This is invalid. You cannot have any space. You can have so y 2023 like this. This is also invalid. Don't use any special characters. So you can use underscore if you want. So this is what valid. Variable names we need to define in this way. Don't use special characters. Sometimes people use some special characters. They will work, but they will fail in later stages. So that's the reason, as per standards, always make sure that even variable is not having an underscore also. Don't use underscore unnecessarily. Underscore officially they recommend to use underscore only when you are developing an application, not in production level. So these are the names. Another important is name cannot be length cannot be more than 255 characters. So name cannot be more than 255 characters long. As per ECMA standards, because we are using ECMA. As per ECMA standards, name can be up to 255 characters long. Another important, name cannot be a keyword of JavaScript. You cannot use variable name as keywords. That means var for, that is invalid. So var yield, that is invalid because they are all keywords. We cannot use. So var class, so that is invalid. These so many hundreds of keywords will be there. You cannot use these keywords for variables because they are already used in programming. Those words are already used in programming. So you cannot use those words. Like so many will be there, like var string. So like var object, all these are invalid. These are invalid because we have all keywords. So this is generally variable. Another point is, as I already told you, name must speak what it is. That is a basic rule. A name must speak what it is. That means by seeing the name, we should be able to tell what it may contain. So generally, people have an habit of giving shortcuts. You don't worry about shortcuts because you remembered we learned about minification. In minification, it will put shortcuts automatically. You write in a complete way. That means, for example, suppose I want to store employee details. Generally, people have an habit of EMP details. EMP details, it doesn't mean that EMP means employee only. In different occasions, it can be a different word, different concept. So then we ask them to use complete employee name, or we say employee details like this. That is how we give name. The name must speak what it is. So you should not give shortcuts X, Y, Z, A, B, C, something. While learning, it's okay. But in implementation, you should give correct name. Because as I already told you, it uses camel case like representations. Generally, the prefix tells what is the object and suffix tells for what purpose is that object. That is generally variable names. So these basic rules you have to follow when you are naming variables. So don't use a number for variable to start. Variable name must start with alphabets or underscore. Underscore also avoid using every time. That's not recommended officially also. But developers have an habit of giving that just to tell that it requires further implementation. Further implementation means generally they write like this. So they write var. So this is some var employee details. They write var underscore product name. By seeing this, we can understand that this product name is a variable and developer is expecting some modification in this variable name. Some modification in this variable. Underscore indicates that it is not final. It requires some more implementation that you will see later while learning OOP concepts and all. Implementation you will learn. Generally, implementation concept comes in working with OOPs, object-oriented programming. So here, these are the general rules you need to follow while declaring a variable. So how to declare variable and configure. Here, some more modern declaration techniques are there. Some techniques you need to understand. For example, see here, this I copied. I given that example, right? Yeah. Now see here, when we define variable, I am declaring var x comma y comma z is equal to 10. In interviews, they give syntaxes like this, and they will ask, what is the value of x, y, z? What is the value of x, y, z? If I print document dot write, if I print x plus x value, in the next line y, so plus y, in the next line z, so plus z. So what is the value of x, y, z? The value of x, y, z, x equal to undefined, y equal to undefined, undefined, and z equal to 10. That means the initialization happened only to z. X and y are declared, but there is no value in that. If a variable is declared and there is no value, JavaScript will put it as undefined. Undefined means variable is not having a value. Variable is there, but value is not there. Value is not there. So it is not all 10. Only z 10. This value, this indicates they are undefined. That means, is it possible to declare multiple variables in one line? It is possible. It is possible. So, but when you assign value like this, then it will be having value only for z. So others, so z equal to z equal to 10. Others are undefined. Because if value is not configured into them, it will return that. So this is one important point. These kind of questions are asked. That means, suppose some FAQs here. So what is the result of where x is 10, x, y, and z equal to 10? So generally, these are very simple points, but majority people fail in understanding if they don't know correct scenario. So the result of this, the result of this is x equal to undefined. The answer for this, x equal to undefined, y equal to undefined, and z equal to 10. That's how it works. Now, in a single declaration, how to keep all three 10? Means, how do we define the initialization then? Actually, we can configure. So how to initialize? How to initialize all values, all variables with a single value. For that, we have another point. Simply var x equal to y equal to z equal to 10. That's how we define. That means Z value is set to 10 and that value is assigned to Y, that value is assigned to X. This becomes the value here. This is called all the values are configured. That means now not comma equal to like this. That means now all the three are having the value of 10. It will set all of them to 10. How to initialize? So how to initialize all variables with different values? So all variables with different values. You can write X equal to, so 10, Y is equal to 20, and Z is equal to some 30 like this. This is the technique how you configure them. That means X, Y, Z, these all you can configure. Directly you can initialize them. So you are configuring like this. So see here, different values if you want to initialize, then X equal to 10 and Y is equal to some 20 and Z equal to 30. Like this we define. That means it is going to initialize with 3 different values. There is another technique actually in the modern JavaScript. So here ES6 and higher version allows destructuring of values. Destructuring of values, which is a different technique actually. Later you will learn about arrays and all concept. Destructuring of values means we can declare var X, Y, Z. These are 3 variables. And here, suppose I define 10. That is, the square brace is a destructuring technique. Earlier, what we have done, we are not using the square brace. Then what happens? All 3 are different. Here you are configuring a square brace. Destructuring technique means I am writing like this as square brace X, Y, and Z equal to, I am defining 10. Like this I configure. Usually, if I write like this, see here what happens is the value is not iterable. It is not iterable. Generally, destructuring technique. So this is invalid. What is valid is X, Y, Z. It requires values also 10, 20, 30 like this. That is the destructuring technique. That is the valid one. So actually, when you put a square brace, it defines a collection. Into a collection, you cannot assign single value. There must be a collection only. That means now here you configured like this. So that means now what happens is in the square brace, you need to define here 10, 20, 30. Then what happens is the value of X, Y, Z will be 10, 20, 30. That is the modern way of configuring. We call this as destructuring. So this is valid. For example, in this, what I done is I passed only 10. Now what? It is valid. It is valid. But what happens is, how many declarations are there? 3. How many initializations are there? 1. Even it is a collection, 1. Then the one value will be in one reference. That means X is 10. Others are not having a value. If others are not having a value, obviously they should return undefined. Then you can see they are undefined. They are undefined. That means this 10 will be referred in X, while Y and Z are not having values. If they are not having values, they are undefined. Suppose I put an empty. So here I put an empty and I said 30. Now what? So X is 10, Y is undefined, and Z is 30. That means here it is having the value in this way. These are the consequences. At MNC level, JavaScript, they give test questions. For reading and understand question, it will take 10 minutes for you. Right? That means they give consequences in such a way that it will confuse you. You may think one will happen, but actually another will happen. That's the reason you should know all such consequences. These kind of syntactical questions are asked in MNC level. Medium, small scale companies, they don't much concentrate on these. Because small scale, medium scale companies, they look for a UI developer. And that UI developer need not to have good programming skills, but he should be good in design. In that case, because their senior will be there, he will take care about any coding problems, any issues. So the point is, at MNC level, first priority coding skills. If you are good at coding, then only you can crack an MNC interview. Then they will see about design. Means final round is design. So, but here in small scale companies, first round is design. If you are satisfied with the design, it's okay. Enough. We don't expect much. So that's the reason small, medium scale companies these days, they don't even see the year gap percentage of marks for UI developers. Small scale, medium scale companies, they just take a developer. If he is good in designing, they just take them. So any year gap, any percentage of marks, no, not an issue. Even you may have some backlogs in your, so it doesn't matter for them, because their just point is they need to finish the job given to them, and for that they need anybody. But MNC is not like that. In MNCs, they have to show the employee power to client. Then only first they get a project. That means MNCs have to show what qualification employees you are having. Then only a project comes to them. That means they have to show that we have 10 certified Java people. We have 10 certified cloud people, like that. If they say that we have Java developers, do you know what client asks? Are these certified people? That means certified means officially certified by the company who invented that language. Suppose Java, you learned Java or .NET. Institutes will give you certificate, like you finished the course. That is not useful for client. That is useful just to put in a frame at your home. Right? Other than that, companies, when they check They check that you are officially certified from Microsoft if you are a .NET developer. If you are a Java developer, officially certified from Java. Like that, official Sun Microsystems certifications will be that. They specially prefer certification. These days, you have a lot of people who do certification. So that means point is we are just expecting you to have good logical skills to crack little high level interviews. If you are targeting high level interviews, logically you should practice more, right? Otherwise, it's okay. You can manage in small, medium scale companies. For cracking high level interviews, you should work hard. Logical skills are important. And these kind of questions are very, very common actually, right? So this is the concept of undefined. So what it will show? So what is the result of that? This is okay. If I define var x, y, z is equal to 10, what will be the result? So that means the result will be x is 10, y is undefined, z is undefined. Like this we are having. Another, if we have x, y and z, and you can have like square 10 and empty and 30. So x equal to 10, so y equal to undefined. Undefined and z equal to 30. Like this you will have. Destructuring of values is possible with variables. That is a new technique of configuring the variables and defining the variable. Right. Let's see. So, yes. So anybody, online people, turn off your mute. Yeah. Okay. Now, this is the concept of working with variable. Just basic of variable, how you can define and handle that, right? Online people, turn off your cameras and all. That will be disturbing for others. Otherwise, I will kick you out of the class. I will remove you out of the class if you turn on your cameras, because it is a lot of disturbance for others. Even you accidentally open, I will remove you from the class. Understood? Be careful, people, because many people are complaining that they can't see your face. They want to listen to me. They don't want to see your faces. Don't show your faces. They are not good enough for them. Right. So this is the concept of working with variable. Next important, is it clear all about variables? You will see some more points in next levels when working with them. Next important, we need to know data types. Variables and data types. Another very important concept, data types. Actually, here, First thing you should know, JavaScript, already I explained, is not a strongly typed language. Is not a strongly typed language. That means when you declare a variable, in that variable, you can store anything you want. There is no restriction. Even once you store something, later you can store something else. That is not having any restriction. Many programming languages are strongly typed. That means when you declare variable, you can tell what can be stored in that variable. Actually, what is data type generally? It is not strongly typed language. Strongly typed language means what? What is meant by that? There is no restriction. There is no restriction. There is no restriction for value type in memory. There is no restriction for value type in memory. So you declare a variable, in that you can store anything. There is no restriction. Actually, we call JavaScript is implicitly typed. Implicitly typed language. Implicitly typed means the type is decided according to value assigned. That means where x equal to 10, then x is number. After that, into x you stored a, then x is what? String. Like that, the x can change itself. If I say true, then x is what? Boolean. Like that, it can change itself. Generally, programming languages all are not like that. Strongly typed means they declare integer x. That means in x you can store only integers. But JavaScript is not like that. You can store anything you want. So it is not strongly typed. There is no restriction. And data type defines the data structure. Data structure means generally when we ask anybody what is data type when they are learning programming, generally answer is data type mentions what type of data we can store. Actually, data type is not about only what type of data, what range of data also. That means it is not just only type, it is about even range. That means what type of data you can store, how much you can store, and in which situation you can store. This all matters. That is actually called as what? Data type. In official computer programming languages, data type means data structure. Actually, we call it as DS. Data structure. Data structure means it defines the range and the type and behavior of value. It contains all. That means data type is about the complete structure of data. Complete structure of data which is stored in variable. The complete structure of data which is stored in variable. Complete structure of data. That means what type, how much, everything. Actually, there is no restriction, but the question is in JavaScript, what type of data we can store. What are the various data types that we can store? Actually, JavaScript data types, JavaScript data type can be number one, primitive type or non-primitive type. We can have two types. It can be a primitive type or non-primitive type. JavaScript data type can be a primitive type or non-primitive type. You can have primitive or non-primitive type. What is difference between them? We will see. What is primitive? What is non-primitive? Actually, primitive types are nothing but they are stored in a memory stack. They are stored in memory stack. They are immutable. They have a fixed range for values. Primitive types are stored in a memory stack. Memory stack, actually, stack uses a mechanism last in, first out. Last in, first out. It uses the mechanism last in, first out. So it uses the mechanism last in, first out. The last value stored, that is the first value that comes out. And they are immutable types. They have a fixed range. Immutable means structure is fixed. You cannot change the structure. That means it have a fixed structure, limit. You can't change that limit. You can't cross the limit. You cannot change the limit also. That means we know exactly how much data is present. That is possible with these primitive types, actually. Those primitive types. So they are stored in memory stack. They are immutable. And they have a fixed range. For example, actually, JavaScript primitive types are, we have number, we have string, we have boolean, we have null, we have undefined, and we have a symbol. These are the JavaScript primitive types. Symbol is a new data type from ES6 and higher versions. I already told you, I am not classifying like advanced JavaScript, basic JavaScript. I am teaching you complete JavaScript, which contains both advanced and basic. Sometimes you people with the mindsets, you need a heading, advanced JavaScript. Under that heading, 2 topics. Then you will satisfy that you learned advanced JavaScript. Otherwise, they complain that, sir, when you will teach advanced JavaScript, ordinary JavaScript is finished. When you will teach advanced JavaScript, like that, people ask question generally. Sometimes even complain that, sir is not teaching us advanced JavaScript. So that confusion is always there because you don't know anything, but you think that you know the technology. Right? So that is the reason, that is the problem is we have to classify. Some people, what they do, they put heading, advanced JavaScript. Under that, they will tell some topics. We are not doing like that. We are learning everything from basic to advanced. So symbol is an advanced type. Earlier, we don't have this, right? That means along with ordinary, some advanced. Because finally we will mention that we learned JavaScript. Which version of JavaScript? ES6. ES6. In that, whatever 6 and 6 above features are there, we are going to see. We are going to work with them. So why they are called primitive types? Why they are called primitive types? Because see, I'm storing var x equal to some 10. Now what is x? X is a number. In x, we are storing a number. If I ask you like how much number I can store in x, how much number I can store in x, is there any limit? Yes, there is limit. There is limit. You cannot store any number. You cannot say that I can store n number. You can't. There is a limit for number. And can I change that limit? You can't change the limit. It's fixed. You can't add anything extra than that. You cannot change that. For example, I will show you. So document dot write, just observe here. Don't worry what I am writing, just observe. So minimum is equal to number dot min safe integer. And in the next line, max is equal to number dot max safe integer. Don't worry what I am typing, just see the concept. Actually, I'm just showing you the range of number. Actually, this is the range of number. That is the range of number minus 90071999252 plus 90 that. That is the minimum and maximum range of number. If anybody asks like, can I store any number? No, you can't store any number. This is limit. That means even you see, you are using a calculator. When you are using a calculator, it is also have a screen limit. Am I right? When you do on continuously multiplying or doing some activity, after certain limit, it will say that infinity or something. Can it show everything? No, it have limit. So that means this is the limit of a number. You cannot store anything extra. Now the question is, why it is called immutable? It is called immutable because later, if I want to store one more extra number than this, that means last number is 991. I want to store 992. Is it possible? No. Can I change this structure? Not possible. It's fixed. It's fixed. You cannot change structure. Generally, people think that immutable means structure cannot be changed. But sometimes people think that immutable means value cannot change. Immutable or mutable is not about value. It is about structure. It is about structure. Can we change value? We can change value. But we cannot change the structure of value. It's a fixed structure. Like that, everyone have fixed structure. For example, suppose sometimes people ask like, sir, string. String means you can enter group of characters. Is there a limit for this string? There is a limit for string also. Suppose when you are typing some text in Notepad, it has certain limit like 700 KB or something. Notepad have capacity. After that 700 KB, Notepad says that I can't store more. Then you have to go with MS Word or WordPad or some other tools because WordPad has limit. That means even string also have limit. Suppose some text documents will be there. You try to open a text document in a Notepad, then it says that Notepad is not enough for this. Please use any another software. because they have some restriction limit. That means even string have limit. Why string have limit? Because it cannot store anything you want. We work with some limited structure. That is why they are all under which category? We call them as what type? Primitive. Primitive type means they are immutable types. Immutable means their structure cannot change. They have a fixed structure, fixed range for values, and important is they use last in first out mechanism. Last in first out mechanism is nothing but just already we know. We saw now already x equal to 10. Into x we say 20, into x 30, into x 40. What is the value of x now? What is the value of x? 40. That means the last value that goes in, that is the first value that comes out. That is the mechanism. It uses last in first out mechanism. Right? So it is stored in a memory stack which uses that mechanism, last in first. These are primitive types actually. That is primitive type. Now we will see one by one. These are all primitive types. Now we will see one by one. First we will see number type. So in JavaScript, what is called as a number? Number means what? Number means which value is treated as number. Actually, number means generally in JavaScript number type can handle signed integers, unsigned integers, floating point, double, decimal, exponent, binary, hexa, octa, big int. All these are number type. In JavaScript, a number means it can be any of these. These comes under the number type. It can be any of these. It can be signed integer, it can be unsigned integer, it can be a floating point or a double, decimal, exponent, binary, hexa, octa, big int, like that. So this is usually, these all numbers. What is meant by signed integer? Signed integer means it will have a negative sign like -10. That means that negative symbol is considered as a signed integer. Unsigned means without sign. Without sign, suppose a positive number. So which one is considered as a floating point? Up to maximum 2 integer. Up to maximum 2 integer and maximum 2 decimal. That is considered as float. Anything more than 2 integer is considered as double, or more than 3 decimal is called as double. Anything more than 2 we consider generally as what? Double. We usually call it as double. Anything more than 4, up to 3 it is double. 4 and more than 4, then we call it as decimal. That means if integer is more than 4, then we call it as decimal, right? And important, actually you can have more than 4 decimal like this. This is also considered as what? Decimal. Even you can have one integer and like this. This is called as what? Decimal. Like this, JavaScript can have 29 decimal places. That's huge. Usually other programming languages have 7 or 8. They will allow only 7 or 8 decimal places. But JavaScript allows 29 decimal places. It's very lengthy. 29 decimal places. That means it can show very accurate results. So all are numbers only. But developers' way of representing I am showing here. Because all are considered as number. That means if you write -10, JavaScript thinks that it is a number. You return 45.23. For a developer, it is float, but JavaScript treats as number. That means for JavaScript, all are number only. Even exponent is a number. For example, if I say 2e3, this is not string. This is a number. Actually, it is equal to 2 into 10 to the power of 3. 10 to the power of 3. 2 into 10 to the power of 3. That means it is 2000. That means that 2e is considered as exponent. When you write e, it is exponent. So it is also under number category. Binary means suppose 0b1010. That is binary. Binaries usually can have a character called b. Hexa can have some x and f like values. Hexa can have. Already in general, you have seen hexadecimal code in colors, right? But here in numeric form, hexa can have an x, f to 0. I will tell you when we need them. When we need them, how to use them in different situations, we will see them. Octa usually have O. It will have a O as character. Octa will have a O as character. And BigInt usually have N as a number representation. N. BigInt is having 2N, 4N, 5N, 10N, 100N like that. That is called as big integer. Big integer is a large binary integer. Usually we use big integers for storing images, right? For example, we have an image. Actually, we don't prefer these days converting image into binary. When image is converted into binary, lot of binaries will be there. Very huge binary number will come. These days we are not using it, but sometimes we need it to store graphics in the memory and use it. We need a big int. Any of these is considered as what? Number. That means there is no data type restriction. Any of these is considered as number. That means anything you type, it is treated as number. How to use them in different occasions, I will tell you. In different situations, how to use them. Roughly, I will show here, suppose, where x is equal to 10, document.write x is equal to the value of x. So x is actually 10. Now, in the x here, I am writing so a negative value. And that is also possible. It can have a negative value. And suppose I am writing here. So this is considered as what? Double. Double, it can show the double value. Decimal means it can have lot of decimal places. That means it can use the decimal places and show. Usually other programming languages can stop after 7 or 8. It can go up to 29 decimal places. Another option, suppose even you are writing like 2E3. This is also a number. It is a number. It will take 2000. Suppose you are writing, so you are writing like 0B1010. That is also number. Actually, it is a binary representation of 10. Binary representation of 10. So where to use them later you will see. Suppose you are having O, then it is considered as what? Octa. Octa. That means here this octa have different value. What is octa, where it is used later, we will see them. So these are all numbers only. That means even they have a character like F or like B or like O, they are not considered as string. They are considered as what? Number type. When to use them, how to use them, different occasions you will see later, right? These all under one category only. What is it? Number. Another important here. So syntactically like this. So some 2E3 like this. X equal to like 0B1010. Like where X equal to like 0O1010 like this. We have different options. That's basic general syntax here. Now, while working with numbers, here another important point is so how another option important here is, first we stored a number. We know that it is a number. So here so many technical things you should learn. Actually, the first thing is in JavaScript with HTML, every input value is considered as a string. In JavaScript with HTML, every input value is considered as a string. From any place you input, it is a string. You input from input type number, that is also a string. If you input from a drop down, it is a string. You input from prompt, it is a string. You input from query string is also a string. That means from anywhere you input, there is no number at all. Every time it is considered as string. So considered as a string. So you have to convert a number into a string into number, by using the parsing methods. We have two parsing methods, parse int and we have parse float. We have to use these two methods. So whenever you want to do some calculations with the string, with the number, make sure that you are converting them. To convert, you need parsing methods. Otherwise, a string into number, it requires these methods. Otherwise, it will treat as a string. Anything from anywhere you input, it is considered as a string. For example, see here, suppose I am defining some. So var age is equal to prompt enter your age. Like this we are defining. And document dot write, I am printing, you will be something like plus age in the parenthesis age plus 1. You will be age plus 1 plus next year. Like this I am typing. It is nothing that what we are doing is we are taking age. We are printing a sentence called you will be. After that we want some calculation. Then we have to do the calculation in a parenthesis, that is age plus 1, and we concat. Plus is what? Concatenation. Concatenation is nothing but combine a dynamic value with a string. After that again we are combining with a string, left side string, right side string. In between we have some calculation happening like age plus 1. This is just plus is a concatenation operator. But now this age is not a number. If age is not a number, this plus will act as concatenation. That means what will happen? You entered age 22. You entered age 22. Then it will be 22 plus 1. That means it will be how much? It will be 22 1. That means plus is used as concatenation, combine. You are combining. That is not correct. That means you see here, when I run this, you enter the age 22, it will be 22 1. But we want it as a number because it is treating a string. From anywhere you input, even from input type number. You have input type number in HTML. Na? That means we write input type. Input type is what? Number. But value is string only. You put in double quote. That means it is treated as a string. Anything is string. Anything you input is string. So then how do we do correct calculation? You have to convert. There are two ways. You convert while reading itself, or you convert while doing calculation. If you convert while reading itself, in every calculation it will be easy. If you do while doing the calculation, in next calculation again you have to convert. So we will convert while reading itself. How do we convert? Whatever value they entered, it should be converted into number. So we will use parse int method. Into this parse int, we will pass the prompt. That means whatever entered from the prompt, it is converted into number and it is stored in age. That means now see, age is what type? Number type now. If I don't use this parse int, age will be string type because you are taking from a prompt and prompt will return a string. Now it is okay. Now you can see I entered some 22, then it say you will be 23 next year. That means it will enter, you say 26, you will be 27 next year. This is converting. You can convert, you have to convert into this. But remember, this is okay. Suppose when you are entering, so age, suppose enter some interest rate. Enter some interest rate. Interest rate I am storing in a variable rate. And I am printing here. So your interest rate is increased by 1. Your interest rate is increased by 1. And I need to put here rate plus 1. Rate plus 1. That's only the message I want to print. Okay. That means your interest rate is increased by 1. Okay. Now see what I am doing here. I am typing the interest rate as some 12.45. If it is increased by 1, it should be 13.45. Am I right? Plus 1 means 13.45. It shows 13 only. Because this time you are using decimal. You are using decimal. For converting decimals, percent is not good. You have to use what? Parse float. Percent is only for non-decimal values, integer. If it is decimal, floating, double, then you use parse float. So otherwise you will get a wrong value. So wrong means round value. You say 12.45 or 34. Next year it will be like 13.34. Otherwise it will be only 13. Right? So it depends on what type of value you are trying to convert. If you are dealing with decimals, don't use parse int. Always you have to use what? Parse float. You have to just use that parse float while working with the numbers. Another important point is, while dealing with the number, you can validate a number by using isNaN function. You can validate a number using isNaN function. That means if user is not entering a number, then we should not take that number. How to check whether user entered a number or not? By using a method called isNaN. That means what we do is here, we are writing a condition. See here, we are taking rate and we are writing if isNaN rate. That means rate is not a number. Whatever rate they entered is not a number. Then document.write, we will put a message saying that please enter a number. Or we will say that interest rate must be number only. Otherwise, it should print. That means this calculation should happen if it is number. If it is not number, it should display this message. So how to verify they entered a correct number or not? Right? Then you can do that by using isNaN. So here what we are doing now, I'm asking, he entered some ABC. Then it will be, please enter a number. You entered a number, so 11.33, it will be 12.33. You are not entering a number, something else you entered, then it shows please enter a number. That's good. That is very important also, because you have to verify whether they entered a number or not. That you can do isNaN. Actually, what isNaN is, so it returns true if input value is not a number. It returns true if input value is not a number. So you need to put that. This is example for that. This is example for verifying number. That is example for verifying number. Now, by using these numbers, we can do a lot of examples now. That means how do we handle the operations? We will learn about mathematical operations, dealing with numbers and working with them. We will see one example on numbers, how to handle them. For that example, we will try to design this. Suppose we have HDFC Bank. This is bank. In this HDFC Bank website, they will have some loan calculator. loan EMI calculator. This is a loan EMI calculator. Here we have to deal with numbers and decimals. That means how much amount you need, how many years, how much interest rate, and click calculate. It should get that and display here. That means every month how much they need to pay. This we will design now. We will create this one. We will learn how to design such calculators, how to deal with numbers and all. So this is our target for Monday. Monday, we will see this, right? So today we learned all the variable rules and important about data types. What type we have learned? Number. And working with numbers, we will see one example. We will take a real-time example like this and we will see how. Here the challenging is, what is the formula for this? How the EMI is calculated? That is a mathematics formula. How to convert a mathematics formula into computer understandable formula? That is the challenging one. Because mathematical formula is different. And computer understandable formula we need to convert. That is the challenging one. Then only you will get the result. That we are going to learn how to do. That we'll see in Monday session. Okay, Monday will continue. Right.